Welcome to the Bakersfield City Council meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 10 a.m., and the following Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can download the agenda for this meeting at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, the Honorable Mayor Karen K. Go.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to call to order the 5:15 City Council meeting of May 20th, 2020. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Go.
Here.
Vice Mayor Parlier.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Weir.
Councilmember Weir, are you muted by any chance?
He is.
I'm here.
Councilmember Smith.
I'm here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
And Councilmember
well.
Sullivan.
Here. Thank you. As you're aware, on March 4th, Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency in California due to the threat of COVID-19. The governor also passed several executive orders, including the suspension of some components of the Brown Act related to public meetings like this one. And as such, Councilmember Smith and Councilmember Weir are participating by phone, and all council votes will be conducted by roll call tonight. So at this time, we have the pleasure of having Councilmember Rivera offer the invocation, and then that will be followed by Councilmember Gonzalez leading us in the pledge. Would you all please stand?
Thank you. Please join me in bowing your heads in prayer. Dear Lord, we ask for your blessing of our city. We ask for your blessing on the work we're doing here this evening as a council. We ask for your continued blessing of our staff who are doing a tremendous job guiding our city on a minute-to-minute basis, getting us through a challenging time now. We ask that you continue to lead us in the right direction, get us where we need to be, guide this council as it works to provide leadership for this city and get through challenging times. We ask all of these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Before I begin tonight, I'd like to say I graduated from East High School in the year 2000. My mom's at home tonight. She can't be here with us, but that was a joke. But I do want to join me and ask you to join me in pledging the flag to the greatest nation on earth. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's right.
Thank you, Councilmember Rivera and Councilmember Gonzalez. Here are a few guidelines to help our meeting run smoothly. We request that you turn off your phones. And in keeping with council policy, council members aren't allowed to send or receive electronic communication during the meeting. Please be courteous in the use of cameras and videos. Applause is allowed during the presentations portion of the meeting, but isn't allowed during other times of the meeting. And for safety reasons, and as a courtesy to others, no signs are allowed in the council chambers. Before we begin with the substantive agenda items, we need to add an item to the agenda. Specifically, staff is requesting we add an emergency ordinance amending Bakersfield Municipal Code Section 12.56.090 relating to special events permit as consent calendar item 8, V as in Victor, for council consideration. In order for this emergency ordinance to be added, we need a motion that we are in an emergency situation due to the COVID-19 pandemic affecting our city. Our citizens and our businesses experience the economic slowdown and need to take certain measures to support our businesses during this public health and safety emergency. The ordinance, one, amends Bakersfield Municipal Code Section 12.56.90 related to special events permit to allow for a COVID-19 special event permit effective now until the emergency declaration is rescinded or until midnight December 31st, 2020, whichever occurs first. And 2, the COVID-19 special events permit allows for the closure of certain streets, sidewalks, parking lots for the purpose of use as dining and vending space during the local emergency upon completion and approval of the application. So I would like to add an emergency ordinance to the agenda under consent calendar item 8, V as in Victor, for the council to discuss this action, and this matter requires a majority vote of the City Council. Vice Mayor, may I have a motion determining that an emergency situation exists to add this item to the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. You have a motion, Madam Clerk. Please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Parlier,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera, Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Weir,
Councilmember Weir, do you have your phone on mute? We need your vote.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes. I had to vote.
Councilmember Freeman,
Aye.
and Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Good count.
Motion is unanimously approved.
Thank you. Next item, please.
They keep moving my phone.
Public statements.
Thank you. Due to the governor's executive order, which waived the Brown Act provisions requiring physical presence of the public in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, public comments have been encouraged to be made by mail and phone call to the City Council. Those received in such a manner have been provided to the City Council already. If people want to speak in person, this would be the time. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers?
Public comments received through the city clerk's email and hotline have been provided to the council, and any additional comments received through those, the hotline and the city clerk's email will be provided to the council at the conclusion of the meeting and made part of the permanent record. We have received 2 public speaker cards this evening regarding one subject. The first speaker is Reverend Angelo Frazier.
Thank you. Reverend Frazier, please come up. Councilmember Weir, we can hear you, so go ahead and mute until you need to unmute.
Okay.
Welcome, and
Thank
please
you.
proceed.
Good to see you again. Honorable Mayor and council members, these are difficult times for sure. The virus is real. Those impacted by it is real. Those lives lost are real. And the economic damage and destruction is also real. Yet, the time is now to open up and to face this present pandemic with American ingenuity, patriotic courage, and practical and scientific wisdom. Unfounded fear is what feeds this virus. Contradicting experts and social unrest will have a negative effect on the future outcome and our American hope and trust in our government, our representatives, and those who are supposed to lead us in these unprecedented and challenging times. Who will lead us? Who will say the emperor has no clothes? Who will history look back upon and say, there he is, there she is, those faithful ones? What the First Amendment says is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right for the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for readiness of grievances. What some people think it means is Congress or any other government official can make up any decree, order, or mandate resembling any law against the establishment of religion or house of worship by proclaiming during continued press briefings that the new normal is upon us and that our collective safety must trump our freedom of speech, our pro-American freedom of the press, our religious right to freely assemble, and our freedom to petition or protest this said government. We don't need a building to worship, but we do need a place to gather. We can do this safely, and we can do this better than most businesses and retail establishments. Government's charge is to protect our rights. We are responsible for our health. We must open up now, lest the unintended policy effects of this virus must destroy and render useless the very Constitution and the people's trust, which is our nation's lifeblood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Frazier. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Pastor Jimenez.
Welcome.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Pastor Isaiah Jimenez from a local church here called Eternal Rock Church. Dear council members, thank you very much for allowing me to address you here. Sister Jackie, nice to see you again. I understand that we are facing a really, really bad situation regarding the health crisis, and that is precisely the main reason why the place of worship must be open. Let me refer to a biblical statement that says, you guys, as people in charge of this city, were put by God, and I think, in my opinion, in my understanding of the Bible, that you will be responsible for the spiritual direction that this city takes. So this is why please give us an official authorization to our churches to come back and have our public meetings. And maybe someone may say, well, let's stop, close the churches to stop the spread, but look at the other hand, the big stores, there are thousands of people going to purchase their stuff and many stores, and the chances to be infected is more than in the church. Around 70% of the churches is no more than 100 people. So, on the other hand, you see the big store that there are 800, 1,000 per day, and our church is just open a couple of hours per week, and they open daily, 15 hours per day. So, if you look the facts that regarding to stop the spread, you will see that it not make sense, the argument to the church to stop, be closed, and don't open just because of the spread. So I think our government our city needs a good and strong government that believe in what the Bible said, and I think God is the only option that we have in a situation like this. This is why I'm here. So please, Bakersfield Council members, give us the opportunity to open and return to our regular services. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Jimenez. Thank you to both of you pastors, and just know that we are in regular communication with our governor on this issue, and we're expressing the voices of our citizens in Bakersfield. So thank you for sharing. Madam Clerk, anything further on this? Then the next item, please.
Consent calendar items 8A through 8V for approval.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Does any council member wish to recuse themselves from an item? Does any council member wish to remove a consent item for separate consideration? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve consent calendar items 8A through 8V as in Victor, along with the noted agenda corrections by the city clerk.
Thank you. You have a motion. Please take the roll, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Parlier,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Weir,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Motion is unanimously approved.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Consent calendar, public hearing items 9A and 9B for approval. A staff memorandum has been received regarding item 9A, transmitting written correspondence received from Lily Parker.
Thank you. It's now time for the consent calendar hearings. The purpose of this section is to vote on all of the items listed under consent calendar hearing in one motion without further comment. If anyone would like to speak on any of the hearing items listed, the item must be removed from this portion of the agenda. And if an item is removed from the agenda, it will be placed at the end of the regular public hearings portion of the meeting. So at this time, I'll open consent calendar public hearing items 9A through 9B. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to request that a hearing item be removed from the consent calendar? I see no one there in the audience who wishes for that to be removed. Does any council member wish to have an item removed from the consent calendar hearing? So at this time, consent calendar public hearing items 9A through 9B are now closed. And Vice Mayor?
Does any council member wish to recuse themselves from a hearing item?
Vice Mayor, out of an abundance of caution, I wish to recuse myself from item 9A for a perceived conflict of interest.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve hearing items.
Madam Clerk, roll, please.
Vice Mayor Parlier,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Councilmember Weir,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan. Aye. Motion is approved with Councilmember Gonzalez abstaining.
But Councilmember Gonzalez only abstained from one item.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
For 9B, aye.
Motion is approved with Councilmember Gonzalez abstaining from 9A.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Council and mayor statements.
Thank you. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, in regards to the letter we received from Lily Parker over at the 4th Street Senior Center on item 9A, just want to make sure staff's received it. And let's work on whether or not there's a way to accommodate her requests. Certainly the one on the operating expenses front seems to make sense to me. We had kind of an odd dynamic in having to consolidate the Richard Prado Senior Center with the 4th Street Senior Center, and so they've been a little bit more active down there. And I'm grateful that Lily and the folks there opened their doors, but it has led to an increase in cost. So if staff could reach out and let me know what we can do to help, that would be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to direct staff to do an analysis and make a recommendation to the Planning and Development Committee on items on the Board of Zoning adjustment that we have. A lot of things go there that I think could be done administratively, just by staff with their discretion. I'd like that reevaluated, that if staff can handle it, then we don't need to go there at all. And then, what is left? And if it's a small number, at least their thoughts on, should that just go to the Planning Commission? If there's any way we can eliminate bureaucracy and more meetings and time and boards, I'm all for it. And that looks like one that maybe we could study and certainly send some of the stuff to staff, and others, maybe there isn't enough left to justify it. So I'd like a recommendation from staff on that. Thank you.
We'll bring that forward.
Thank you. I don't see any other requests to speak. Councilmember Weir, would you like to offer comment?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Smith, would you like to offer comment?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, item 8I was to add new positions to, really because of the promises we made with PSVS and the economic development. And so also promises that we made with PSVS included enhancing the quality of life and public amenities. And every presentation we went to, we talked about more bike paths and better bike facilities. And we recently had a report on the death fatalities in the community on bike and ped related. So I'd like staff to look at I know many communities have what they call a bicycle pedestrian coordinator, where they work on getting grants, they work on moving projects through and specializing in safety for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. So staff could get back and maybe add that as a position. I don't know that it's, we've got the money to fund it this year, but if at least we are thinking about adding that position at some point, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll take a look.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Thank you, City Manager. I don't see any other requests to speak. This coming week is Memorial Day, so I would like to adjourn the meeting in honor of the brave men and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Meeting is adjourned at 5:44.